We're joined right now by Steve Emerson, Executive Director of the Investigative Project on Terrorism, who made news earlier today on the Fox News channel. He was also on C-SPAN, and he's going to be all over the place, and Katie Couric, but he's here, and that's what counts. Hey, Steve, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, a little bit tired, but probably so are you.
Well, yeah, but I just want to let you know, I had Congressman Peter King on just a little while ago, right before you. And Congressman Peter King said he, notwithstanding what you said, and he doesn't know where you got it from, and even though it has now been, quote-unquote, confirmed by federal authorities, he would not rule out still the Saudi national or the al-Qaeda link. He said that they obviously had a search warrant. They obviously went to his house. They took out bags of stuff in the middle of the night. He's not convinced that this man is no longer at least a person of interest.
Well, Peter's a smart guy. I mean, he may be right. This may be deception. But I would say, on the other hand, the al-Qaeda connection is very interesting because in the latest issue of the al-Qaeda magazine, they specifically talk about exactly how this bomb was created. They talk about using gunpowder. They talk about pressure cookers. They talk about ball bearings. And they talk about how to construct it in such a way that you would not trigger attention from local authorities or local stores where you buy this from in the local area, and how not to take credit. That's the modus operandi of how this occurred.
Okay, but that doesn't necessarily, even if the person got it from that manual, of course, that could have been anybody.
That does not make him a jihadist or an Islamic terrorist. Absolutely. It could be anybody.
Right,
It's online.
Okay, so, but could I ask you, could I go back to the news you made with Megyn Kelly, and that is, and again, then confirmed by sources within the government. Could I ask you how you, I mean, now you're saying Peter's a smart guy, he may know, and I'm not by any means taking you to task. I'm just asking, I'm curious.
I got it from a senior law enforcement source who worked on the search warrant.
Okay, worked on the search warrant. Okay, so you're convinced that that this man is no longer. You don't think it's just a kind of a strategic, kind of what we put out there to make them think. You know what I mean? It's not thinking.
Well, it doesn't mean that other suspects. Remember, we found this Facebook page last night when the government hadn't, and there are a lot of other people on it, including those who express an animosity. It doesn't make them culprits, but those people are being investigated as well.
All right, explain to me about the Facebook page.
Well, the 20-year-old Saudi had a big Facebook page. Now, we couldn't get it on the inside, but on the outside, he had lots of pictures of lots of Saudis, including those who expressed anti-American feelings. He's a 20-year-old learning English. I don't believe he was simply capable of building these bombs. I think he had to, if he did, he had to have help. Number two, others could have done it instead of him. He could have been the fall guy. Who knows? But I would say this, that those other people are being investigated.
That the other people are being investigated. Okay, so and your source told you that this man, is he still in the hospital? Is he released?
That I don't know if he's in the hospital or not. I couldn't tell you.
Now, was it the scenario, Steve, that he CNN was saying that the federal official they quoted after you broke the story was that he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time? They've said nothing. I got to tell you, I've seen nothing on the cable shows about the Facebook page. They said he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was running. The reason he was running was because he was hurt and burned. Why would you run away from a scene if you're hurt and burned? Why wouldn't you seek help?
Well, when you're hurt and burned, you're in pain. You act in different irrational ways. I'm not going to try to explain that.
Right.
But I will say this: with the video cameras that have been installed en masse in major cities, including Boston, in the park itself, the municipal cameras and the commercial video cameras, and the fact that they're going to stores, pharmacies, they're going to hardware stores, they're going to other stores to see what was purchased in terms of explosive residue, black powder, in terms of timers. This is the gumshoe type of thing. This is where they find the culprits.
Steve, if you had a guess right now, based on that Facebook page, based on the al-Qaeda manual, or at least al-Qaeda internet guide to making the bombs, I mean, would you, knowing, and this has been your life's work for so many years, would you, if you had a guess right now, say domestic or foreign?
I don't bet on terrorism and baseball.
Okay, and when I say domestic, I mean it could be domestic with a foreign influence. I mean, there's so many combinations. The media is making it very simplistic that either
this administration has curbed the use has curbed the use of the term radical Islam. I mean, you can't even talk about it today. I mean, that's why I think, and the Attorney General has quashed indictments of terrorist financiers, and they've actually stopped, I just learned this the other week, stopped training half of the FBI informants who infiltrate Islamic terrorist organizations. So I think we're weaker today than we were before. But I will say this, the FBI is a great crime-solving organization. That's its claim to fame.
Okay. We're talking to Steve Emerson, Executive Director of the Investigative Project on Terrorism, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. What's next? I mean, if they have these cameras, are you surprised that they're not further along than they are, or are they just not telling us and maybe they are further along? What do you think?
I think they're probably not telling us everything, but I don't think they're further along. I think that if they made a firm identification and they made an arrest, that would actually be news. But they may, obviously, if they've got people of interest under investigation or under observation, they are certainly not going to release that. I mean, that's part of profiling, and that's part of Technique 101 in law enforcement.
What does this tell you? I mean, the media is reporting this as the biggest attack on American soil since 9/11. That's if you count Major Nadal Hassan as a postal worker who went postal, which I don't. I know you don't. But all that aside, I mean, you and I, again, we've talked about this for years, how vulnerable we are. And doesn't this just almost mirror the kind of bomb used, the kind of attack perpetrated for decades against the Israelis when they were getting hit with the pizza parlors, the outdoor malls, the bus bombings, the same exact kind of bombs and the same kind of scenario?
Yes, the bomb is exactly the fact that there were two bombs going off 4 minutes apiece, the fact that they had ball bearings, the fact that they had timers similar. Yes, these were very similar to the types of bombs the Israelis experienced in Islamic Jihad. Having said that, the reality is we still don't know. I mean, honestly, I think they'll find out. I do believe they'll find out. They'll get their man. This is the first type of bombing that has occurred since 9/11. All the other attacks, the three attacks, they were shooting attacks, one in 2002 and 2009 by Nadal Hassan, and in 2008 at Little Rock, they were all shooting attacks. This is the first bombing that occurred, successful bombing that has occurred since 9/11,
right,
which is why it generated so much interest and concern. And I think Boston's going to have a lot more dog-sniffing dogs than they ever had before.
Well, what about New York and their next marathon? I mean, I know New York is considered the best prepared in the world, but what about sporting events now going forward?
Well, after 9/11, they carried out, first of all, the NYPD, because it got burned on 9/11, created its own FBI. They created their own intelligence service, their own counterterrorist service. So they've done very good. And they've taken precautions at Giants games, at Jets games. But I think this is going to extend. Look, suddenly we got used to the fact that bombs didn't go off, that terrorist attacks didn't occur. We almost reverted back to a pre-9/11 mentality. In fact, we did. Basically, the Islamic groups were saying there's no such thing as Islamic terrorism. In fact, the term itself was banned by the Obama administration. But now I think people are saying, aha, 9/11 is now not a long memory, but a short memory. And
yeah.
I think there's going to be much more concern about doing this. People are not going to knock the TSA anymore as they used to.
Yeah. All right, Steve, thank you for your time, sir. Go do what you got to do, and thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right,
Bye.
Steve Emerson, ladies and gentlemen. Interesting. The Facebook page of the 20-year-old suspect, or should I say 20-year-old former person of interest possibly, who now officially is no longer a person of interest, even though Peter King says he wouldn't rule that out, had anti-American rantings and posters on it. So I don't see how that serves to rule him out as a person of interest. But I'm not the FBI. I'm also not Governor Pataki, the former governor of New York, the state to which Steve Emerson was just alluding to as being better prepared and having their own intelligence and surveillance service and own FBI. We'll talk to Governor Pataki when we come back right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.